to households. It has provided water for irrigation as well as nursing tree seedlings that will be deployed into the battle for the restoration of vegetative cover across degraded landscapes. At Mehula in Bali local government, a solar-powered borehole is sunk close to a gazetted forest and a cattle. Apart from its purpose of providing water to a tree nursery, the project offers.
Masu kallon barkanmu da warhaka, barkanmu da kasance da ku a cikin shirin barka da hantsi. Shirin barka da hantsi shiri ne wanda ke duba abubuwan da ke faruwa a Najeriya da ma faɗin duniya baki ɗaya. Wacce ni Firdausa Musa Abubakar zan jagaba shirin tare da abokan aiki na.
Musa Agbati, good morning.
Abraham Nigeria, good morning.
An tashi lafiya ya weekend.
So, give God all the praise. Hope you had a good weekend.
Yeah, very good. Thank God. I'm able to at least have some rest.
How are you managing the economics?
Ba daɗi fa. Weekend ɗin ma ba zan ce an yi shi cikin daɗi ba, sai dai a ce kawai ana managing ne, sannan kuma a kara a gode ma Allah duk wani halin da mutum ya tsinci kanshi.
Absolutely. You know, with the national grid collapse and
To, gashi nan dai ni na kasa gane abubuwan da ke faruwa yanzu kusan zan ce sau 7 kenan ya faru. Kuma wadda ina ga kaman a ranar Juma'a ma, is it Juma'a ko kuma Alhamis ya yi collapsing, sannan kuma an sake yin experiencing ɗin shi ranar Asabar. Wadda abun sai ya zamanto a kwanakin baya da ya dinga collapsing a jere ta wurin sau 4 ne ko sau 5 yana collapsing, sau 5 ma yana collapsing, sannan mun sake mun yi shi a satin da ya wuce nan sau 2. Gaba ɗaya abun sai yana ɗaure wa mutane kai sosai. Wasu suna cewa to all this while mu ba mu cika jin wani national grid collapse why ba a saba da wannan kalman ɗin ba saboda bai yi. Sannan a ce a kwanan nan ya collapsing sau 7, ana gyara yana collapsing, ana gyara a ce kaza yayi kaza. Ai ya kamata a ce an samu ingantattun kayan aiki gurin yin aiki wanda ba za a samu ire-iren waɗannan matsaloli ba. Duba da yadda ko yawancin mutane kowa yana amfani da wutar NEPA ne, kama daga masu yin business. Allah ne kaɗai ya san asaran da ake idan an samu irin wannan matsalar ɗin, wadda kuma yana affecting kusan 'yan kasuwa da dai sauransu, wadda yana haddasa asaran dukiyoyi har ma da asaran rayuka. Kaddara a ce wani asibitin ɗin ba su da wani abin da ya shafi irin solar panel ko wasu abubuwa ba su da shi, sai dai wutar NEPA a ce ana cikin tiyata kawai wuta ya ɗauke ko wani abubuwa. Kaga waɗannan ba abubuwa ne masu kyau wanda ya kamata a ce ana experiencing ba gaskiya. Ya kamata a ce a yi gyara a kai. Hukumar da suke da alhakin ɓangaren wutar lantarki ya kamata su tsaya, domin gaskiya wannan ba karamin asara yake jawo al'umma ba.
You know, this issue of national grid collapsing, yesterday the TC and the transmission company of Nigeria stated about almost getting to 10 reasons that will make makes the grid to collapse, including the activities of vandals. So with those things that they mentioned, tripping up of the transformers and the rest of it, there's no guarantee that the grid cannot collapse tomorrow again. So I feel maybe the government and other relevant stakeholders in Nigeria, we should look at other sources of power like the solar, the wind energy, and the rest of it. We have a whole lot of sun here, most especially in the northern part. So the government should look at other sources of power, because with the explanation TCN are giving, that means the grid can even collapse again tomorrow. That's just the truth.
Well, concerning this grid, I think Nigerians are not ready to ask the right questions about electricity. The country generates close to about 12,000 megawatts of electricity, but it's only has capacity to distribute about 5,000 naira at a peak. And we've been like this at least since from the 2000. We went from 2,500 to at peak 3,500. Now at peak is 5,500 that can be distributed, that we have the capacity to distribute. Now, what leads to the collapse of the grid is that in some cases there's an overload.
Yeah.
So once it overloads, just like your generator, you overload it, it will shut down. Now, why wouldn't we have grid collapse? The Punch headline yesterday, grid collapse 105 times in 10 years. 105 times in 10 years, despite $1.4 billion loans that we've taken. Over the years, I remember there's a rural electrification project that took in about 3 billion naira as at then, that nothing was done. We've seen many loans and many funds invested and nothing has been done. Now we have the problem of generation, we have the problem of distribution. Now if we don't fix these two, we will end up having over 200 million people depending on 5,000 megawatts of electricity. Another thing, why wouldn't the grid collapse? Look at Jalingo as a city. This part of Jalingo used to be a bush about 15 years ago. Nobody uses electricity around here, but look at it now. Everybody owns a phone, everybody uses electricity, so the pressure is on. Now, before it used to be a problem of legislation, the law that says only the federal government can generate and transmit electricity. And they look at, okay, let us the downstream sector deregulate it. Was deregulated, distribution was sold to companies, and we still have the same problem. Now the law has been made. It has been taken away from the exclusive list to the concurrent list, and this has been done for over a year. And now, how many of our states have keyed into this policy? We have renewable energy. We have the ability for states to generate and distribute. Now, if we don't do this, I'm telling you, even if we generate 1 million megawatts, we don't have the capacity to distribute. And it is obvious that the national entity does not have the capacity to ensure efficiency. So the state needs to we need to begin to ask our states, what is your policy on power? It is no longer on the exclusive list, not on the concurrent list. What are you doing? We cannot continue to wait for out of our share of the national 5,000 megawatt. So now we should do something. By now, some states are even still, the laws are not being made yet, not to talk of putting structures on ground. So these are the questions Nigerians need to be asked. The grid will keep collapsing because we are a country growing while the national grid is static. So that is just what we will.
To gaskiya har yanzu dai ana bukatan gyara.
I still feel we should try other sources of power.
Yes,
like the solar and the wind. There are countries that are running on solar.
Gaskiya.
Yes. So this over dependence on hydro, this thing, we have the TCN are saying activities of vandals can affect can cause the grid. So that means the grid can collapse at any time, because yes, the grid can collapse at any time. So I feel the government should try other sources of power.
So masu kallo da wannan bari mu dan ji hutun takaitaccen lokaci wanda idan mun ga shirin namu zai dora a dakacin muna dawa ba da jimawa.
Multiple benefits to the community. To the south of Maiwola, Garin Malam in Kurmi local government is also a beneficiary of Akrisal's watershed management strategy. In Donga town of Donga local government, Akrisal's solar-powered borehole is providing its multi-benefits to this community.
Ina jin daɗi domin saboda lokacin da ba ruwa bana tafiya da nisan samun ruwa. Amma yanzu ruwa yana kusa da ni, kowace lokaci zan iya zon ɗiba ruwa komai sakandare.
Ina jin daɗi, muna samun ruwa mai kyau wanda muna sha, kwanciyar hankali wanda yana mana kyau. Da muna tafiya da nesa, muna shan wahalar ruwa, muna tafiya da nesa ruwan da dabbobi suna sha.
Wukari is a sprawling township located in southern Taraba. This town has been known for chronic shortage of potable water. At Ungwar Fada, Akrisal has provided the community with a borehole.
gaskiya project na nan da aka kawo muna murna sosai.
Masu kallo barkanmu da dawa daga hutun takaitaccen lokaci idan yanzu kuka zo bisa akwatin talabijin ɗin ku kuna kallon shirin barka da hantsi. Kamar yadda muke tattauna akan abubuwan da suka shafi Najeriya yanzu, mun yi magana akan abubuwan da ke kawo national grid collapse. Amma kafin mu ci gaba bari mu fara da newspaper review. Abraham.
Good morning, everyone. We'll be looking at the stories making the headlines on different national papers today, and if possible, we'll take maybe a paper from Taraba too. Okay, they say charity begins at home, so let us take from the new day in Taraba. It's 1 year after Taraba lawmakers sponsored 9 of 1,650 National Assembly bills. So out of the 9 out of the 1,650, the mathematicians can do their calculations to know. And if we look at it, they say nationwide flooding. Hunger threatens 8.5 people in Taraba and 9 other states. So there's going to be, they are looking at, due to the flooding, about 8.5 million people, not only in Taraba, but in Taraba and 9 other states will be affected by the flooding.
To ai wannan abu ne wanda aka sani yau da gobe, dama mun yi magana, duk da cewa mai ya yi tsada kafin ma mai ya zo ya shooting haka, mun yi magana akan yadda amfanin gona ya lalace, farkon damina ruwa ya zo ya tafi, amfanin gonan mutane sun bubbushe, wadda a haka ma an samu waɗanda suka rasa rayukansu akan haka. Zaka ga mutum ya je gonan shi ya samu gona ya bushe, kawai sai ka ga ya haɗiye zuciya, za a ce ko ya haɗiye rai ya faɗi, wadda kuma hakan ɗin sai ka ga ya sanadiyar rasa ran shi. Sannan kuma still bayan haka muna maganan cewa amfanin gona gashi ya zo ya lalace saboda rashin ruwan, an zo an sake samu kuma ruwa ya dawo, wadda kuma da ya tashi dawowa kuma ya yi sanadiyar ambaliyar ruwa, wadda ya sake tafiya da sauran gonakin da suka yi kyau ɗin ma. Sannan still ana kan maganan cewa wasu amfanin gonan sun lalace don abinci yanzu an tashi harvesting ɗin shi zai zamanto ba zai yi yawa ba, ruwa ya zo ambaliyar ruwa ya sake tafiya da wasu abinci still ya ƙara karanci, sannan man fetur kuma ya zo ya sake ya karu, wadda da mutum ya ɗauko sauran amfanin gonan ɗin ma ya kawo shi gida ko kuma kasuwa, kaga hakan ya nuna cewa bana bayan karancin abincin da za a yi ko kuma aka fara yi ɗin ma zai zamanto kuma kayan abinci zai ƙara yin tsada. To kaga mutane har yanzu fa akwai sauran aiki a ƙasa. Gaskiya ana cikin wani yanayi, ko in ce ana ƙara fuskantar yanayin da za a ƙara shiga.
If you can, the World Bank and the IMF were saying 129 million Nigerians are poor. And I feel that's an indictment and an embarrassment. It's supposed to be an embarrassment to the government, saying 129 million of your citizens are extremely poor, and the government is not doing anything about it. And I feel this World Bank and IMF, the federal government should start seeing them as people that have their own opinion, and it's not necessary that we must adhere to whatsoever advice they've been giving us. We've seen in the past where they've supported the SAP program, that the structural adjustment program of IBB, and they later themselves and everybody knew that the SAP her program failed Nigerians. Now they are here again saying that Nigeria must insist all subsidy must be removed. This subsidy issue, all over the world, countries provide a certain form of subsidy to their citizens. You cannot just come and impose. People are dying, things are getting harder. It's obvious that the reforms, the economic reforms, are not working because the citizens are crying, things are getting harder by the day, and you are insisting that the federal government should stand its ground and, if possible, remove every other form of subsidy. So the citizens are always at the receiving end. Joe Biden, the US president, canceled about 5 or 6 million student loans. Is that not subsidizing education?
Yes.
So every country somehow are subsidizing certain services to its citizens. And I feel, yes, so I feel it's no wrong for Nigerians to provide a kind of support or palliative or subsidy, as it may, to its citizens.
I keep saying it. Nigerians, we are not ready for good governance. We are not ready for good governance. When you talk about multidimensional poverty, where over 190 million people are under the poverty line now, if you look at the critical sectors that they looked at that to arrive at this, we have food. Those are hungry. We have housing. We have health. We have access to education. Now, let's take this. In Nigeria, in terms of food security, it is on the concurrent list. It is the duty of both the federal and the state. As a matter of fact, in agriculture, the federal government can only make policies. They don't own the land. For them to actualize these policies, the states must buy into it and provide the land for this to be done. We've seen the issue of the 1,000 hectare listing. Only 2 or 3 states have been able to provide those lands. Other states, I don't know the level. So you can see that in food security, both the federal and the state government must come together to achieve a policy, or must have different policies that are working. Education, it is also on the concurrent list. It is only the senior secondary and some part of the higher institutions that is being managed by the federal government. The federal government only makes national policy, but primary, which is the basic, this is where to stamp out illiteracy. It is at the primary level. The moment you are through primary, you are no longer illiterate. So and the state owns the basic education and they get their funds. So if the state does not provide basic education for Nigeria, you cannot go to the federal government institutions. If the federal government make laws, policies on education, it is the state and the local government that will implement it. So when you talk about illiteracy, that means the bulk of the problem starts from the state. We talk about health. Primary health care. Only about 5% of the health care institutions belong to the federal government. The remaining over 80-something belongs to state, while the private sector owns the other thing. What does it tell you? Primary health care is a function of the ability of the state to ensure that there's primary health care. Then the major hospitals will take care of major diseases but things like malaria, hepatitis, and the rest of it. These are primary health issues. Same goes with employment. Same goes to many things. So as long as we don't begin to practice proper federalism, in which all the tiers of government are held responsible, I'm telling you, we've been doing this since this 60s when we became a unitary. We will continue to do it because we don't know that our local government, if the local government can provide good learning environment for children, I don't think there will be any child in this country that will not have education. If the local government healthcare system is working, at least there will be one or two healthcare that you can go and receive basic this thing
At the grassroots.
At the grassroots. So these are very, very important issues we need to look into.
Yeah.
And I feel talking about those developmental issues, the local government is the most efficient to me. And if we really need development to get to the people, and that's the root cause of our major challenges, if we can tackle it at the local government level, because most of these issues starts there. Education. If a young child growing up whatsoever local government and is able to access basic education, we've conquered the issue of illiteracy. We've conquered the issue of out of school children. Yes, even in the urban areas, Jalingo is a local government. Yes, so if you can support, if local government can have the funds and have the willpower to make available those basic amenities from primary healthcare, primary schools to be functional, will defeat a whole lot of things that we are now, that have grown, and we are now trying to as they will say, it's easy to train up a child than to repair an adult. Most of these issues, if we can fix it at this level, it's even more easier.
Kasan yadda aka faɗa a wani Hausa ke cewa ice ɗanye ne tun daga ɗanye ake tankwara shi idan ya riga girma sai dai karye. Ƙaramin abu da muke ɗaukan shi ba wani abu ba, su ne suke zama manya-manya. So ya kamata a tackling ɗin shi tun yana ƙaramin kafin nan ya zo ya girma yadda zai fi ƙarfi. Don ba yadda za a ce abu kaza ya fi ƙarfi, abu kaza ya fi ƙarfi. Yanzu ko yadda muka magana akan national grid da yake ta collapse ne yake mene, tun abubuwa suna kanana ya kamata a ce an tackling. Amma yanzu gaba ɗaya komai ya ɗau.
That's why, Farida, honestly, I'm 100% support of that local government autonomy. If we really want development to get to the grassroots, tackle security issues which are primarily local, this autonomy. And I feel now that the citizens feel like the governments are using a backdoor, using their state house of assemblies to create laws, looking like the Anambra state, saying that there are certain responsibilities that the local government and the state are sharing, like core members and the rest of it. So there should be a kind of joint account and the rest. I feel the aim of that Supreme Court judgment will be defeated. So the federal government should look into it, the National Assembly should look into it, and I feel the governors should allow those local government chairmen to administer those funds. And after all, we had election in Kogi by the weekend, Kogi Kaduna. Is the APC governor and Farida, all the chairman local government, the 23 are APC. So you brought these people. Why wouldn't you trust them with the funds to go and administer it at the local level, at the local government? Why now creating an institution, another kind of form of joint account again, so that the chairman will not be solely responsible for the funds?
Nigeria ne ko ba ka ba? Kasan mu Nigeria. Muna da shugaban kasan mu. Okay, fine. In har shugaban kasa shi zai iya yi aiki gaba ɗaya, babu amfanin samar da governors. Kaga hakan ya nuna cewa zai iya yin aiki ma duka states da muke da shi da kuma local governments da muke da shi. Amma don kar aiki ya zamanto ya yi mishi yawa, shi yasa muka samu gwamnoni na kowane jihohi. Sannan daga cikin gwamnonin kuma aka zo aka samar da ciyamomi na kananan hukumomi. Saboda abubuwa daga ciyamomin kananan hukumomi aka samar da kansiloli. Sannan aka sake kuma aka samar da irin masu angoni da sauransu domin ayyuka ya zama da sauki. Wannan ya san nan, wannan ya san nan. To kaga komai zai zama, bari a ɗauko mutum daga for example a ce daga Kona a ɗauke shi a kai shi ko Nasarawa ko kuma a ɗauke shi a kai shi Sabon Gari a ce ka zamanto mai anguwan nan, ba dole ne inda kake nan ne zaka zama shugaba. Domin ka fi sanin kowa da kowa. Sannan a cikin tafiyan din kuma shi kan shi ko da a ce mai anguwa ne, shi ma ya samar da mukarraban shi wanda wannan zai nan wannan zai nan, duka saboda a samu saukin yin aiki ne, ko ba ka ba. Ni kam gaskiya ba zan fasa faɗa ba, ni bana goyon bayan wani joint account ko kuma wani abu na, amma dai yana da kyau in dai ana so a samu sauki da kuma aiki mai kyau yadda ya dace a yi kawai yadda ya dace kuma kowa ya san abin da ya dace. Abraham, muna sauraron ka da sauran.
Let us run through the newspapers. The Vanguard headlines here say FG zero duty food import policy faces fresh hurdles. That is the headline news on the Vanguard, and there's also somewhere here that says scores killed in Anambra Rivers court clash. That is one. And the Tribune headline says 16 months of decline, 16 months of the government of this present government of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. So critical market indicators defy FG and World Bank's reform optimism 15 months down the line. And Nigerian News Direct headlines here. President Olusegun Obasanjo warns Nigeria's 20 million out of school children are potential Boko Haram recruits. That is from President Olusegun Obasanjo. We also have a story here that says, Sanwo-Olu Oyebanji orders rally Ondo APC ahead of Goba polls. That is concerning the elections in Ondo State. The Business Day talks about, there's a story there on how Nigeria's economy can bounce back. This is by experts, so if you want to know how Nigeria's economy will bounce back, you can read it on the Business Day. While the Guardian headline here says, FG budget in logjam as multiple appropriations seek attention. Multiple appropriations for the budget seeks attention, so the budget as it is now hits lockdown. So that is also on the front page of the Guardian. And other stories on the Guardian says only urgent National Executive Council will avert implosion. PDP's official members warn some PDP's official members warn that urgent NEC meetings, it is where we avert the implosion of the PDP. And then in the New Telegraph, there's a local government financial autonomy, just what we are discussing. It said anti-corruption agencies to deploy tracking systems. So the anti-corruption agencies are going to deploy tracking systems to local government funds, so as to track the way the funds are being run, to ensure that yes, and nothing shady is going on. While on the Daily Trust, commercial drivers and other tax government on infrastructure and refueling stations. So that is one. And here they say police arrest and then release NSAS memorial protesters. Those that went for the memorial protest of NSAS, police arrested them, but they were later released. Yeah. Then again, there is a story here that will be making the rounds on social media over the weekend. It's about General Lagbaja, who has not been available. So the army said Lagbaja are not dead. So the stories making round that is dead is not true. So please let us take note. Yes. And the Matrix. Okay, the same story. Nigerian Army refutes Chief of Army Staff Lagbaja rumor of death. Then on the NSAS memorials, if you want, the protesters recall their ordeal. So if you want to know about the ordeals of the protesters, you can find it on page 6 or page 4 of the NSAS of the Matrix. And then another story here, the Daily Times. The Daily Times, why we reject federal government IPPIS and GIF-MIS, insist on UTAS, ASU. I don't know why we keep having back and forth over the platforms for payment. FD is insisting on IPPIS, while ASU is insisting on UTAS. I think this back and forth, there's something fishy about this. Honestly, I don't understand. They say the policy, this for over years now, they've been arguing over just the platform, to agree on the payment platform. So So there's some interest here that need to. I say, okay, that's it on the Daily Times. Those are the papers will be headlines that will be taken today.
Okay.
Well, it's what got me. It's that 20 million out of school children. The former president Olusegun Obasanjo says they are potential Boko Haram recruits. That means they might be terrorists. I felt that's what he meant by that. And I feel it's a serious issue. 20 million is a whole lot of numbers out of school children. Children that don't have access to basic education. So where do we go from here? A child, we already have them. No access to basic education. So they cannot read, they cannot write. And most times in school, children have some kind of moral training, not only the academics. So these 20 million are totally out of school. So imagine what they will grow into.
Kasamba, ilimi a yawanci idan ka samu 'yan ta'addan da muke da su, za ka samu yawanci jahilci ne ke damun su. Ba za su iya karanta maka ba, ballantana su rubuta maka. Yawanci haka za ka same su. A yau duk wanda ya samu ilimi bare kasance haka ba. Ballantana a ce kuma ilimi bai samuwa dole sai da tarbiyya, because a cikin tarbiyyan iyaye ne ake iya samar da ilimi. Iyaye sun ba ma 'ya'yansu tarbiyya, za su tura su makaranta. Sannan a population da muke da shi na mutane, population na yaran da muke da su wanda ake haifa yana da yawa. Sannan a ce population na yaran da ba sa makaranta har ya kai haka, me ake tunani gaba zai haifar? A yanzu ma ana kuka, gaba kuma yaya ne kukan zai kasance? Duka wannan fa ana dubawa. A zamanin da muka sani, lokacin din iyaye ba sa yadda su sa 'ya'yansu makaranta, kama su ake yi by fire by force, ake kai su makaranta domin su yi ilimi. Kuma da aka kama su da ƙarfi aka kai su suka yi ilimi, su suka zo suke shugabantan ƙasan gabaki ɗaya. Ko ba haka ba, wadda har muka zo muka samu 'yancin da muke da shi a yanzu. Sannan a ce muna da population na yara wadda ya kai har miliyan nawa, a ce yaran ba sa makaranta. Generation ne yana iya tafiya, wani ne zai sake zuwa, sannan a ce yaran gabaki ɗaya babu ilimi, kan menene zai zamanto a ƙasa? Duka wannan ya kamata ana dubawa, domin gaskiya muna bukatan ƙasanmu ya ci gaba har ƙarshe. Ya kamata a ce a samar da ilimi sosai. Yanzu ma da ilimin ɗin ga yadda ƙasan yake tafiya. To a ce kuma an samu gaba ɗaya haba.
Honestly, that number of out of school children in the country is alarming. And we must commend the subnational, most especially states like Taraba State, that the governor declared free basic education. That's at the primary and secondary school level. And you can see the number of students that have now returned to school. You hardly see students or pupils during school hours. You see them roaming around the street. And I feel that's what we are talking about, basic education, that the subnational must collaborate with the federal government, because the state government and the local government mostly have the primary and the secondary schools. So now that the Taraba State governor have declared free education, that's the primary and secondary, we can see the number of out of school children in Taraba have reduced drastically. You go out, you hardly see students roaming around the street or hawking or the rest of it. And education makes you somehow very unfit to become a slave, because there's no how, Farida, today it will almost impossible for someone to convince you to carry a bomb, to go and bomb a market or a mosque or a church.
That's the truth. Rashin sanin alkibla ne, kaga rashin ilimi, rashin sanin alkibla ne. Idan mutum ya zo ya san kanshi, ya san daɗin kanshi a cikin ilimin nan, ta ya za ta min kashe kaina inda rayuwa yake da daɗin nan? Ba zai yiwu ba. Sannan
let us apply, for us to know the magnitude of this 20 million. In Africa, there are about 19 countries that are below 20 million. So the number of out of school children in Nigeria is more than the number of people.
Some African countries.
In about 19
African countries.
It's more than the number of people in Chad. Chad is about 19 million. It's more than the number of people in Zimbabwe, Senegal, South Sudan, Guinea, Benin Republic, Rwanda, Burundi, Tunisia, Togo, Libya, Sierra Leone, and so on and so forth.
Hey.
So you can see these are major countries in the world politics, Libya, Senegal, and the rest of it. But the number of out of school students
we have in
Nigeria is more than the entire population of those countries. If you add together the population of, let me just do little mathematics. If you add together the population of Mauritania, Gambia, Namibia, Gabon, Botswana, and Lesotho, the number of out-of-school children in Nigeria is much more than that. And now, if you put together about 10 other countries, the number of out-of-school children in Nigeria is more than that. So this is something that is very, very alarming. Because we're a country that have population, when we hear 20 million, we don't know the value of what 20 million means. Benin, Chad, these are neighboring countries. The number of out-of-school children is more than. So the thing is this. I think the issue, if you look at it, why is it that it is a certain section of the country that is having this issue? So that shows that it has to do with, we need a cultural change. The culture of not considering education as something important needs to be taken away. Then what is the general policy on education in northern Nigeria? We have policy on politics, on governance, on how to take power.
Wow.
The North is considered the most powerful region in Nigeria when it comes to power, politicking. But how come we can't implement this power play into educating our children? So that should mean that culturally we're a region that loves to take power, but we don't want to use that power to better the lives of our people. Poverty rate is high here. Disease is high here. Out of school children is high here. So there must be a change of mindset. If it was across the country, we say it's a national problem. It's not a national. Out of school children is not a national problem. It's a northern problem. It is a northern problem, and we need to come together as northerners to fix this. And for it to be a northern problem, that means it's a cultural problem.
Ni kan ba, a nawa ma ni yanzu na fi ba ma iyaye ma laifin nan. Saboda yara ƙanana hakkin iyayen amana ne Ubangiji ya baku idan kun haifi waɗannan ƴaƴa. Makarantar nan fa muna da su kashi-kashi. Wani zaka biya 1,000 ne, wani ma PTA kawai ake biya, wani kuma 2,000 ne. Wani kuma zai iya biyan 100,000, 200,000 ba yadda baya kasancewa. So a duk yadda karfinka ya kasance makaranta za a samu daidai karfinka wadda zaka sa yaro ya yaki jahilcin nan. Saboda idan ba yaki jahilci ba akwai matsala fa. Akwai matsala zamanin da zai zo a gaba. Baraka ce a'a mun haifi ƴaƴa za su girma lokacin mu ba ma rayu ba zai yiwu ba. Zaka iya kara shekara 100 ba kai kaɗai kake da rayuwanka ba. Tashin hankalin da zaka gani ba yi da amfani. So gaskiya iyaye ya kamata mu tsaya mu sa ƴaƴanmu su nemi ilimi fa yana da matukar muhimmanci sosai.
And here, like state in Taraba, what excuse do you have? It's absolutely free. The government have been insisting that free is free, including educational materials and uniforms. So parents and guardians don't have any excuse not to send their
primary
wards to school.
Kyauta, za su yi secondary kyauta, university din ma an cire 50%. Sannan kuma ana ba ma student kuma loan. Still, ko ba haka ba an fara. What is about the loan pay karatu? In ka karasa ka zo ka biya.
And what is somehow puzzling is, do you know that out of the 40-something ministers of this present administration, the northern Nigeria has about 24. So the rest 20-something is divided by the south and the. So you can see those things. And we have the minister of education is from the north. The minister of health is from the north. So the agriculture that we are talking about is from the north. So what is really happening with the northern elite? And as you said, when it comes to power play, politicking, we're there. But when it comes to implementing policies for our people, real growth of the people, you don't see it in the north. Because out of this 20 million that we are saying, bulk of the number is in the north.
I'm very, very sure.
Yeah.
To gaskiya ya kamata a yi gyara don ko ɗazun da muke maganan ƙarancin abincin da za a samu dole ne a yi noman rani sannan kuma koda ya kasance damina ne ya kamata irin matsalolin da muka yi facing farkon daminan nan bai kamata a ce mun yi facing ba, domin za mu yi shirin noman rani ko a daminan. Akwai guraren da kwata-kwata ba su damu wai ana damina ko ana mene ba, duka ana yin noma ne kawai gaba ɗaya na rani. Ya kamata a applying a kasashen ko kuma ce a jihohinmu gabaki ɗaya a fara yin wannan domin a samu sauki. In ba haka ba yunwa zai kashe mutane da ma ina ga adadin su ban san iya adadin shi ba.
And sorry, I really wanted to comment on that headline that was saying 16 months down the line since the president came in. Honestly, let's be realistic. Nigerians are complaining. Those reforms of the federal government we are not really seeing the positive impact. Since 16 months that the president came, said subsidy is gone and the rest of it, prices of things have gone to the roof. And there is no commodity that you can still buy it at the same price as it was 16 months ago. Even half the price. So the reforms are not working. We are Nigerians, and I feel federal government should review all these economic policies.
Gaskiya ya kamata domin a samu sassauci. Sannan kaman iftila'in da ya faɗa na satin da ya wuce na yawa na wannan fashewan tankan mai din nan, gaskiya ya kara jan hankali na wadda da aka tashi mun yi magana akan mutane 153 wadda suka rasa rayukansu, wadda kuma sun fi ma haka, wadda a ce yau mutane 150 da ko kuma 100 sama da 100 dai za a ce a binne mutum ɗaɗɗaya, hakan ya sa an tona babban rami ne aka sassaka mutane. Ya kamata a ce mutane su ƙara duba, duk da duk wadda kwanan shi ya kare zai tafi, amma kuma akwai ganganci a wani al'amarin din. Ya kamata mu ƙara duba duk halin da muka sinci kanmu, mu ƙara yin addu'a. Mu ƙara yin addu'a ma kanmu, ma shugabanninmu, domin a samu shugabanci mai kyau zuwa gaba, a samu gyare-gyare a cikin wasu abubuwan da ya taɓarɓare a yanzu. Ko ba haka ba, hakan kuma bai ba da daman da zaka ce zaka yi abubuwa ba. Man fetur da aka ɗiban nan ba naku bane. Man fetur akwai me shi, sannan in ka ga abin da ya shafi fetur ya kamata a ce kayin nesa da shi ne ba kusa ba. Bille ka dubi inda mutane suke kwasan man fetur tun daga safe har sannan a ce irin wannan zai faru da mutum, zaka tuna me makomanka, ka je ɗaukan abin da ma ba naka ba, sannan kuma ka zo ka tafi a haka. Duk wannan abin ya kamata mutum yana dubawa. Duk wani abun da zai taɓa lafiyanka ya taɓa rayuwanka ya kamata a ce ka tsaya nesa da shi. Sai dai a ce ai ya riga baya gurin ma, amma kuma iftila'i ya faɗa mishi, wannan za a reasoning a ce baya gurin, amma a ce dumu kana gurin. Gaskiya abun da ya faru ba abu ne mai kyau ba. Mutane ya kamata su duba, su shiga hankalinsu sosai, irin su you guys should stay away from this kind of situation don Allah.
And it's so unfortunate that some people are not part of this and they will suffer from it.
Wasu sun zo ma suna korin su ne, irin ku tafi, wai ba za su tafi ba, ana faɗan maganganu halin da ake ciki.
And petrol is this, so we fetch it 50 liters, we go and keep it at home. If it explodes,
har gida,
it always traces its relatives. It will trace the other ones to where it is. And so those at home that said, no, I didn't go to the scene, sleeping at home peacefully, not knowing that somebody, maybe a boy in your house or someone has scooped petrol and has kept it in the compound. That's what leads to death of a lot of people.
Sannan kuma yana da kyau iyaye su ci gaba da kara faɗakar da 'ya'yansu. Mu ba mu isa mu gama faɗakarwa ba, amma kuma ya yi mu yi magana ba lallai mutum ya ji ba, amma iyaye in sun yi magana ma 'ya'yansu yana da tasiri. A kara yi ma yara nasiha, abun da ba naka ba kar ka yi kusa da gurin. Sannan idan iftila'i irin wannan, don gaskiya fetur ba karamin iftila'i ba ne, a ce abun da ya shafi waɗannan iyaye a ja hankalin yara sosai, gaskiya su yi nisa da irin waɗannan al'amura domin gudun wasu masifa, don wani abun an san farkon shi ba san karshen shi ba yi da amfani sosai. Asarar rayukan da aka yi gaskiya ba abu ne wanda yake da daɗi ba.
Okay. I think even some of the parents are involved. So how would they even advise a parent that just did a calculation of 1,000 naira per liter, 50 liters? That's how much? 50,000 naira. Let me just get 150,000. This is something has not earned for a year, and then
you won't think of it. You won't tuna ginin gidanka kuma kwata-kwata nawa ne ka kashe a ginin gidanka wadda shi bai isa ma ya saya maka simintin da har ma za a yi wannan ginin ba. Dukansu ya kamata a ce mun duba. To masu kallo ina ga da wannan masu noma a sake koma a yi shirin noman rani. Gaskiya za a shiga karancin abinci da waɗanda suke noma da waɗanda ba sa noma kowa ya sunkuya domin a samu wadataccen abinci da gida har ma da mutanen waje da unguwa da dai sauransu har ma wasu garurukan in za a iya taimaka. Masu kallo nan muka kawo ƙarshen shirin namu na yau sai kuma gobe da safe idan Allah ya kai mu a madadin waɗanda suka taimaka shirin ya zo gare ku ne Farida Sanusi Abubakar wacce na gabatar tare da abokan aiki na.
Ibrahim Anajoda, have a wonderful week.
Musa Agbadu, have a good day.
Taraba State is one of the 20 northern states that have keyed into the federal government's World Bank-funded Agroclimatic Resilience in Semi-Arid Landscapes Program, ACRISAL, a multifaceted, multi-institutional program which aims at a holistic approach to combating desertification and restoration of the